Welcome back to Brick by Brick. Today we're going to be doing a matchup between the former Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, under Biden, versus, on the Republican side, J.D. Vance, who is the current vice president. Vance is more likely to be the Republican nominee than Buttigieg is to be the Democratic nominee. This is just a fun little hypothetical matchup prediction that we'll be going through. So I'll come back to New Mexico later. That will most likely, that's probably how I'll classify it. I'll go with the main later. But anyhow, so this is the map right here. I've classified all of the the safe and likely states. So there is one in the state of Maine some of these are based off of the 2024 election, which was not a great year for Democrats, which is why some of the states are less Democrat trending than they usually are. But with that, there is going to be one more lean. But with that is going to be the start of our map. So we have the swing states left characterized. We'll start off with the lean states and then move on to the tilt. So on the Democratic side, we've got the lean state. I do think New Mexico could fairly easily be likely. I'm going to go with lean for now. But regardless, that's going to be 5 electoral college votes for the Democratic candidate, Pete Buttigieg. And then there's a little bit more good news for Democrats. I do think Minnesota would most likely be in the same column. And then so that's going to be 10 electoral college votes. And then I do think that the state of New Hampshire would fairly easily go to Buttigieg, resulting in 4 more electoral college votes. There is also a lean district that I think would fairly easily go to Buttigieg. Harris was even able to win it, and that was not a good showing for Democrats in 2024. So I do think Pete Buttigieg, he's definitely got some moderate appeal. I guess that depends really on who you ask, but he has a bit more moderate, which I do think would play well in that Omaha district there in Nebraska. So it's going to be 1 more electoral college vote. And then after that, we have the swing states. There's going to be a lean district, and that is going to be the second, that is going to be the second district there in Maine. That is going to go to the Republican J.D. Vance. So with that results in 266 electoral college votes for the Democrat, Pete Buttigieg, to 219 for J.D. Vance. Now we will get to the core swing states. So I do think Buttigieg would probably be able to win this, and I'm going to add a tilt characterization, the state of Nevada. I think that would most likely be the result in there. I do think that it will be close. They do have a Republican governor, but they do have 2 Democratic senators, so it really depends on the candidate, depends on the year. And this is if the election were to be held today, and so far Trump's poll numbers are not looking great. I know he won't be the candidate, it'll be J.D. Vance, but Vance is, of course, the vice president, so it would reflect on his electoral college chances. So with that, I'm going to go with the tilt blue characterization for Nevada, but I do think it's going to be a different case for Arizona. This state actually ended up being in the lean category in 2024, which, as I mentioned, was a pretty bad showing for Democrats in general. So I do think it will narrow up. And I do think in the long run, Democrats should put some efforts into winning this state again. Biden was able to win it in 2020. I do think the Sun Belt is likely going to continue to shift toward the Democratic Party. Well, the Rust Belt probably will do the opposite. I do think all of them will be swing states for a little while. But I do think that is probably going to be the general trend. We'll have to see if that materializes. But with that, so that is 11 electoral college votes for J.D. Vance. So that's 232 for Pete Buttigieg to 230 for J.D. Vance. And then we already characterized the district there in Nebraska, the Omaha district. And then I will actually go to the south first. I do think that Pete Buttigieg, like I've said before, he's got that moderate appeal. Vance, he's got more moderate appeal than Trump for sure, but I do think Buttigieg would probably be able to carry the state of Georgia. This one is a close call for sure. All these swing states are going to be close, but if I were to predict it, that's probably what I would do. I do think it won't be the same case in the state of North Carolina, though. This state has a pretty long history of voting for Republicans, especially in the presidential level. So that will be 16 electoral college votes for each candidate, resulting in 248 to 246. And then, as far as these Rust Belt states go, they generally vote together. And I do think that it would probably be the case this time. We'll have to see what happens, or even if these two people are the candidates. But I do think that Buttigieg, I believe he lives in Michigan now, and he would have that appeal. J.D. Vance is from Ohio, which is somewhat of a swing state. As you see here, it is characterized as likely. But I do think that Buttigieg, if the election were to be held today, would probably be able to win those 3 states, resulting in a 292 to 246 electoral college victory for the Democrat Pete Buttigieg. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.